And for you, are these two like, are you interested in Tom at this point? Is he in your thoughts as well?
Ele é uma luta que te interessaria, que está na sua mente?
Quem?
Tom Aspinall.
Bom, igual eu falei, eu lutaria com qualquer um no peso pesado, mas o Jon Jones é o campeão, eu sou campeão. Se fosse o Tom Aspinall, é óbvio que eu queria lutar com ele.
I'll fight anybody at heavyweight, but I'm the champion, Jon Jones the champion. If Aspinall was the champ, I wanted to fight him.
Oh.
Alex Pereira sends a clear warning message to Tom Aspinall. I'm not interested in Tom Aspinall. I want Jon Jones at heavyweight. Those are the words that just sent shockwaves through the entire UFC. Alex Pereira, fresh off his devastating 80-second knockout of Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 320, has issued a clear and direct warning to the heavyweight division, specifically to current champion Tom Aspinall. I'm not coming for you. I'm coming for the GOAT.
I know you said you're interested in a super fight. Can you elaborate on that? Is it the winner of Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane? Or it sounded like maybe before everything happened with Jon Jones in his personal life, you were maybe planning a call out of him.
I'll answer his question, and I'll answer this subject one time. And, you know, I with all due respect, with all the respect I have for the situation, and I've said this in the back, you know, a lot of people try to create a lot of stuff around this. So, again, please, with all the respect, I was going to ask for Jon Jones in the White House, but with everything that happened, it's not the right time to talk about it.
Poatan just reclaimed his light heavyweight throne, and instead of celebrating, he's already looking to make history by moving up to heavyweight. But he's not interested in the obvious fight. He's bypassing the champion and calling out Jon Jones for a legacy-defining super fight at the White House. Pereira's exact words were powerful. All I want is a super fight at heavyweight. I want a super fight. It would be at the White House against Jon Jones. That's a super fight.
Essa é a melhor aposta?
Não, queria super luta.
No, I want a super fight.
Oh,
Ooh.
super fight at heavyweight.
I can think of one.
Wow,
name.
Derek
I would,
Lewis? It's Aspinall, man.
Bom, não sei se Casa Branca, Jon Jones.
Jon
seria uma
Jones.
super luta.
Oh, at the White House.
Jon Jones. That's
okay.
a super fight.
All right, so he's...
Now, here's where it gets interesting. When asked if he'd consider Tom Aspinall, the current UFC heavyweight champion who's been calling out everyone in sight, Pereira essentially said, not interested. This is a direct message to Aspinall. I'm not coming for you. I'm coming for the GOAT.
Hey, brother. Chama.
At a Q&A in Rio de Janeiro this past Friday, Pereira doubled down. I don't think so because that's something Jon Jones said in interviews he wants. I think he's at a certain age that's a little elevated for the sport, like mine, and we don't have time to waste. I think he will be sincere if he's interested or not. Now you might be asking, why bypass the actual heavyweight champion? Tom Aspinall is young, dangerous, and has been clearing out the division. But for Pereira, this isn't about logic. It's about immortality. If Pereira moves up and defeats Jon Jones, a man many consider the greatest fighter of all time, he would cement himself as the first three-division champion in UFC history. No one has ever done that. Daniel Cormier said he would have beaten a former UFC light heavyweight champion and the guy many consider the greatest fighter of all time.
Because he would have beaten a former UFC light heavyweight champion and heavyweight champion, and the guy many considers the greatest fighter of all time.
The MMA community has absolutely erupted over this news. Let's break down what fighters and analysts are saying. Laura Sanko stated, I want to see him at some point. He's already doing such extraordinary things. I feel like we as fans want to see how far we can push the envelope. Like how extraordinary can he be? So yes, I would like to see him at heavyweight.
I want to see, he's already doing such extraordinary things. I feel like we as fans want to see how far we can push the envelope. Like how extraordinary can he be? So yes, I would like to see him at some point. I don't know if it's next, because I would love to see that Carlos fight. But at some point, I've got to see him at heavyweight.
Daniel Cormier praised Pereira's mentality. I love that he's calling the hardest fight. I love that he's picking the most intense worst matchup for himself because it just speaks to the man that Alex is.
And I love that he's calling the hardest fight. I love that he's picking the most intense worst matchup for himself because it just speaks to the man that Alex is.
The consensus among many, give Pereira the fight he wants. Michael Bisping put it, The man should be afforded some wild opportunities. What he did, the way he came back, the way he thrills audiences, the knockouts that he's had, the career that he's had, the impact that he's made on this sport, and the fan base that will once again be behind him is immense.
The man should be afforded some wild opportunities. What he did, the way he came back, the way he thrills audiences, the knockouts that he's had, the career that he's had, the impact that he's made on this sport, and the fan base that will once again be behind him is...
However, there's strategic thinking at play. Some believe the UFC should wait until after UFC 321, where Aspinall defends his title against Ciryl Gane. MMA Guru explained, if Tom Aspinall wins and gets a first-round KO and calls out Alex for the White House, cinema, that's the main event you need at the White House. That's how you do blockbuster business.
Could be against Gane. I hope Tom Aspinall wins. I think he will win. He's a favorite to do so. And if he gets a first-round KO and calls out Alex for the White House, cinema. That's the main event you need in the White House. That's how you do blockbuster business.
Not everyone is on board, though. Chael Sonnen, the American gangster, warned against rushing this. Pereira versus Tom. I just feel you're premature. What happens? Let's say we all get behind it, and 10 days from now, Ciryl Gane is your champion.
Pereira versus Tom. Even if you want to go in the direction of Jon Jones versus Tom, I just feel you're premature. What happens? Let's say we all get behind it. Either idea. Pereira versus Tom. Jon versus Tom. We all get behind this idea. And 10 days from now, Ciryl Gane is your champion.
Sonnen's point? The heavyweight landscape could shift dramatically with UFC 321 just weeks away, and jumping the gun could mess up the perfect storyline. Jones has been relatively quiet on social media, but sources close to him reveal he's genuinely interested. Remember, Jones briefly retired and relinquished his heavyweight title earlier this year, but then announced he'd return for the UFC White House event in June 2026. According to Chael Sonnen, Jon Jones is not just a guy that loves the sport and he's going to show up and do it. He needs certain reasons, but Alex provides those reasons.
And Jon Jones is not just a guy that loves the sport and he's going to show up and do it. He needs some certain reasons, but Alex provides those.
Chael Sonnen captured it perfectly. I don't believe anybody's ever wanted to fight Jon Jones. I think Alex Pereira might be the first person to ever call out Jon Jones, where I actually think they want to fight Jon. A legit, true competitor who legitimately wants to know, am I better than you or are you better than me?
I don't believe anybody's ever wanted to fight Jon Jones. I think that Alex Pereira might be the first person to ever call out Jon Jones. Where I actually think they want to fight Jon. A legit, true competitor who legitimately behind the fame and the money and the cameras wants to know, am I better than you or are you better than me?
So what does Dana White think about all this? Well, he's conflicted, and for good reason. White confirmed that Pereira's team approached him at the UFC Performance Institute. I went over at the PI and he was over at the PI. I was like, you're the last guy I expected here today. What are you doing here? And they were telling me, we want to fight at heavyweight. I said, how about we win tonight and then we can talk about heavyweight. There's still fights here in this division.
And I went over to the PI and he was over in the PI. And I'm like, well, you're the last guy I expected to see here today. What are you doing here? And they're telling me, we want to fight at heavyweight. I said, how about we win tonight and focus on tonight, and then we could talk about, heavyweight. And I don't know. There's still fights here in this division, but we'll see. I mean.
Tom Aspinall just dropped a bombshell message to Ciryl Gane ahead of their UFC 321 title clash, claiming he holds one major advantage that could change everything. Alexander Volkov, who's fought both men, just gave his prediction. All right, let's start with the champion himself, Tom Aspinall. The British heavyweight is set to defend his title for the first time as the undisputed champion at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi on October 25th, and he just revealed what he believes is his biggest advantage over not just Ciryl Gane, but the entire heavyweight division.
I think if I hit anybody, I can knock anybody out. And I think that Ciryl is no exception, but obviously there are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved. you know what I mean? This is an MMA fight. It can go anywhere. So I'm sure we'll both be ready for anything.
Aspinall claims that because his fights end so quickly, we're talking an average fight time of just over 2 minutes. His opponents have barely any footage to study. Think about that. This is his 10th UFC fight, but he says people have only seen 10 to 20% of what he can actually do. In his own words, if I can go through my career and nobody is seeing me do anything, that's ideal for me because each long fight, the opponent gets to see more and more. Right now, I've got a lot of UFC fights, but people have only seen 10 to 20% of what I can actually do. And that is just a massive advantage.
Ciryl tweeted that he thinks you should be careful what you wish for, and he'll see you in Paris. How do you think you match up against Ciryl?
I better be careful, apparently. Yeah. I think I match up pretty well against him. I think I'm equally as fast as him. I move equally as well. The difference is I can grapple. I've got a lot of power. And I think that's pretty undeniable at this stage of my career. I've got a lot of knockouts on my record, mate. I have to touch you once, and I wasn't even throwing heavy tonight. I thought it was going to be a 5-rounder. I didn't mean to knock him out. I was pretty sure that that was going to be a 5-round fight tonight, and just takes one shot, mate, at heavyweight, especially with me throwing him.
Let's put this in perspective. Aspinall needed just 60 seconds to destroy Curtis Blades in their rematch last summer. 60 seconds. That's not even enough time to grab a beer from the fridge. So while guys like Ciryl Gane have hours of footage showing their techniques, patterns, and habits, Aspinall is basically a mystery wrapped in an enigma. That's terrifying for any opponent. But wait, it gets better, because Aspinall isn't just talking strategy, he's playing mind games with Gane. And honestly, it's pretty savage. Ciryl Gane recently appeared in 2 movies, KO, which came out this summer, and Den of Thieves 2 with Gerard Butler at the beginning of the year. Now, there's nothing wrong with fighters expanding their brand, right? Well, Aspinall thinks otherwise. The British champion took a shot at Gane's commitment, saying, and I quote, "I wouldn't do a Netflix documentary for $50 million while I'm still actively fighting. No chance, you couldn't pay me enough money to do it. I'm 100% committed to my craft. 100%, $50 million. And he'd turn it down. That's the level of dedication we're talking about here. Aspinall is basically saying, while you were on movie sets, I was in the gym preparing to destroy you. That's the championship mentality right there, folks. But is it just talk? Or does Gane have something to prove? We'll find out in less than 2 weeks. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Alexander Volkov, the number 2 ranked heavyweight contender, has fought both Aspinall and Gane. So he's got the inside scoop, the first-hand experience, the knowledge that nobody else has. And his prediction? It's complicated. Volkov calls it a straight-up 50-50 fight. He acknowledges that Gane has incredible movement, great leg work, and has dramatically improved his grappling game. But, and this is the key, when asked who looks better, Volkov said, and I quote, "On paper, when I fought both of them, Tom Aspinall looks better."
50-50, I think. 50-50. Yeah. So, yeah. Both of them are good, and Ciryl Gane he's really good on his movement, on his legs and everything, and he's not so bad grappling now. He starts working a lot on his grappling and his ground skills. So I think it's 50-50. It depends how fight starts, how both of them will be prepared to the fight for each other, and I saw that Gane will be motivated a lot to the fight to get the belt. It's 50-50, but on the paper, when I fought with both of them, Tom Aspinall looks better.
But then he added, in the fight, it could go either way.
But in the fight, it could be like in any ways.
Let's break down Volkov's experience with these guys. He fought Gane twice, June 2021 and UFC 310, losing both times by decision, with the second being a razor-thin split decision. He fought Aspinall at UFC London in March 2022 and got submitted in the first round.
Put you right back on your feet, just so you can take advantage of me. Tell me how's it feel sitting up there Feeling so high, but too far away to hold me. You know I'm
So, even though Volkov had more competitive fights with Gane, he's still giving Aspinall the edge on paper. That tells you everything you need to know about how dangerous the British champion really is. Aspinall recently made a bold statement about his training partner and genuine friend, Ante Delia, who just made his UFC debut and beat a top 10 opponent at UFC Paris last month with a brutal stoppage. Aspinall said that if Delija works his way up to a title shot, which could be just 2 to 3 wins away, he would vacate the belt rather than fight his friend. Let me repeat that. The heavyweight champion of the world would give up his title rather than fight his training partner. In his words, if I never won a title, I never touched gold before, we'd have to fight. Because that was my dream. But now that I've done it, I'd vacate and he could have his time. I wouldn't fight him. No chance. He's one of my genuine friends, and there's some stuff to me that's more important than money and titles.
So the thing is, if I'd never won a title, I'd never touched gold before, we would have to fight because that's my dream.
Yeah.
Well, now I've done it, I would be like, I'll vacate it and he can have his time.
Fair. Really? So if it comes to it, you're just not fighting him?
I wouldn't fight him. No chance.
Fair.
No chance.
Damn. Fucking
no.
Props.
That's my
really?
Yeah. That's So I've got guys who I train with, of course, and I've trained with them for years and stuff. And I've got other guys who are my genuine friends.
Yeah.
And he's one of my genuine friends. I would never there's some stuff to me that's more important than
And speaking of training partners, Aspinall also trains with Phil DeFries, who was cut from the UFC over a decade ago, but has gone on to record 12 consecutive heavyweight title defenses in KSW. That's the level of talent Aspinall surrounds himself with daily. Now, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the GOAT in the Twitter feed. So let's break this down. What do we actually have here? Aspinall's advantages. Lightning-fast finisher with minimal tape to study 100% focused on fighting, no distractions. Home advantage with the British fan base. Currently ranked number 8 pound-for-pound momentum as the newly crowned undisputed champion. Gains advantages. Former interim champion with title fight experience. Vastly improved grappling game. Exceptional striking and movement. Highly motivated to reclaim championship status. Experience against top-level competition. What do you think? Is Aspinall's secret weapon enough to defend his title? Or will Gane's improved ground game and motivation shock the world? Drop your predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our fight coverage.
So surgery is everywhere, every time around us. So no worries, Tom Aspinall, you're gonna come in back stronger. Really, my man.
Ciryl Gane's shocking statements about his preparation for UFC 321 how Jon Jones inadvertently helped him get ready for Tom Aspinall, and the massive bombshell message Bongaman just sent to the British heavyweight champion. Plus, we'll cover Aspinall's response and what his training partners are saying about this massive showdown. On October 25th at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi, we're getting one of the most anticipated heavyweight title fights in recent memory. Tom Aspinall, the current undisputed UFC heavyweight champion, will make his first title defense against former interim champion Ciryl Gane.
Last minute. Last minute.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. This isn't Gane's first rodeo when it comes to heavyweight title fights. In fact, it's his third attempt at capturing undisputed gold. His first shot came at UFC 270 against Francis Ngannou. That didn't go his way. His second came at UFC 285 against Jon Jones, and that one lasted just one round before Jones submitted him. So Gane comes into this fight with everything to prove. He's the underdog, he's faced criticism about his ground game, and he's got the weight of 2 previous title fight losses on his shoulders. But according to his recent statements, he's more ready than ever before. Here's where things get explosive. At a recent press conference in Paris, Ciryl Gane delivered a message that should have Tom Aspinall and his entire team paying attention. Let me read you exactly what he said through his translator. Sometimes life is a little bit strange because of some bad results, and then people think that you've never worked on your ground game, on your grappling. But believe me, as someone who's come from Thai boxing as well, I've got a team behind me. My coach, Fernand Lopez, we've worked on our ground game. These are experts. We know exactly what we're doing. Sometimes I've not been able to show it, and that's on me, but this time, believe me, I've been working, and hopefully I can show it this time around.
You know, sometimes life is a little bit strange because some bad results and then people think that you've never worked on your ground game, on your grappling, but believe me, as someone who's come from Thai boxing as well, I've got a team behind me by my coach, Fernand Lopez. We've worked on our ground game. These are experts. We know exactly what we're doing. Sometimes I've not been able to show it, and that's on me, but this time, believe me, I've been working, and hopefully I can show it this time around.
But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Ciryl Gane is actually thanking Jon Jones for his loss at UFC 285. Now, that might sound crazy, but hear me out. Gane recently explained that facing Jon Jones in such a high-pressure environment actually made preparing for Tom Aspinall easier. He said, and I quote, "All of that, the conference, the media, everything is heavy for the fighter. I remember against Francis, it was so heavy. It was not easy. Against Jon Jones, it was easier. So I'm sure for the next one, it's going to be easy."
At first, I think all of that, you see, the conference, the media, everything it's heavy for the fighter. And I remember against Francis, it was so heavy. It was not easy. And yeah, this is a good exercise because you must be prepared for that. This has had a little bit more pressure for the storytelling, everything. And yeah, I remember for Jon Jones, it was easier, so I'm sure for the next one, it's going to be easy.
Think about what he's saying here. The media pressure, the spotlight that comes with fighting a legend like Jon Jones. That was like a heavyweight championship boot camp for Gane's mind. He learned how to handle the pressure. He learned how to deal with the chaos surrounding a massive title fight. And now, he's approaching Aspinall with the experience of someone who's been through the fire twice before. That's a dangerous mindset for any challenger to have. Gane isn't just physically prepared, he's mentally fortified in a way he wasn't before. Now, Gane isn't underestimating Tom Aspinall. In fact, he's very respectful of what the champion brings to the table. He acknowledged that Aspinall will come up with answers to his unique fighting style, saying, "I think Tom has the answer already." He knows I'm a little bit of a different fighter in the division, but I fight in a different way. But I'm sure that Tom will be able to come up with an answer if he's thrown to it.
I think Tom has the answer already. He knows I'm a little bit of a different fighter in the division, but I fight in a different way, but I'm sure that Tom will be able to come up with an answer if he's thrown to it.
But here's the key. Gane is confident that he's ready for whatever Aspinall brings. He spent months specifically preparing for Aspinall's submissions and takedowns. Remember, Tom Aspinall is one of the most well-rounded heavyweights we've ever seen. He can knock you out or submit you in the blink of an eye. Gane knows this, his team knows this, and they've been drilling for it nonstop since March. That's the kind of dedication and focus that turns underdogs into champions. Tom Aspinall's camp isn't sitting idle while Gane makes these bold statements. Martin Buday, a heavyweight fighter who trains regularly with Aspinall's team, recently gave his prediction for the fight. And it's not good news for Gane. Buday said, "I love Tom Aspinall and his team. I'm really looking up to that fight. I will be cheering for Tom. I think he will secure a spectacular win and finish and defend the title."
Like, I love Tom Aspinall and like his team, his father, like everyone in that team. So I'm really looking up to that fight, and I will be cheering for Tom. I think he will secure like a spectacular win and finish in that and like defend the title.
And get this, if everything goes according to plan for Team Aspinall, they could potentially hold heavyweight belts across multiple major promotions. Tom Aspinall with the UFC title, Phil DeFries with the KSW belt, and potentially Buday capturing the Octagon MMA Heavyweight Championship. That would be absolutely insane. Now, as for Tom Aspinall himself, while the champion hasn't made extensive public statements about Gane's recent comments, his confidence is clear. Aspinall has been calling for this fight for a long time. And now that he finally has Gane across from him, he's ready to prove why he's the undisputed champion. Aspinall knows that Gane is a dangerous, technical striker with incredible movement for a heavyweight, but he also knows that Gane has shown vulnerabilities on the ground, exactly where Aspinall excels. The British champion has some of the fastest hands and feet in the heavyweight division, combined with elite-level grappling. Everything he's worked for comes down to October 25th in Abu Dhabi. Can he prove that his ground game has truly improved? Can he implement his striking against someone as dynamic as Aspinall? Can he handle the pressure of a third title shot? For Tom Aspinall, this is about legitimacy. This is his first defense of the undisputed title, and he's facing a former interim champion who's battle-tested at the highest level. A dominant win over Gane would cement Aspinall's status as the true king of the heavyweight division. The stakes couldn't be higher for both men. So there you have it, fight fans. Ciryl Gane is coming into UFC 321 with a chip on his shoulder, thanking Jon Jones for preparing him for this moment, and sending a clear message to Tom Aspinall. You haven't seen the real me yet. Meanwhile, Team Aspinall is predicting a spectacular finish, and the champion himself is ready to defend his throne. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our UFC 321 coverage. We'll be bringing you all the latest updates, predictions, and analysis leading up to Fight Night. Until next time, fight fans, stay ready, stay hungry, and I'll see you in the next one.
Don't leave him hanging then, not one. Thank you, John.
Body early. Soon as trying to drop it.
Nice big angle start. He defended 2 takedowns, chipping away. Never going to learn to be able to get back to the feet. Feel on the feet. There's no urgency.
Peso completo. Un golpe. Tenemos a uno ya 100%. Va a sacar lo que queda atrás.
Who is coaching Spivak. That's really good. Look at that. I'm still not going to disengage.
Everything in these shots. Mira eso, con el arriba y el codo en la cabeza. ¡Impresionante! ¡Qué buen codo! Primero. Goodness. Here he comes. Big trouble. Second. Now. Big shots, but Sanko shots like Gane.
In a massive bombshell statement that sent shockwaves through the MMA world, Ciryl Gane has declared that his upcoming fight against Tom Aspinall is going to be easy to prepare for, and it's all thanks to Jon Jones's spotlight on the British champion. Let's start with the bombshell that has everyone talking. Ciryl Gane, the former interim heavyweight champion, has made a stunning declaration about his preparation for Tom Aspinall, claiming the fight will be easy to get ready for and crediting Jon Jones for making it possible. In a recent interview, Gane revealed his mindset heading into his third shot at heavyweight gold. All of that, the conference, the media, everything is heavy for the fighter. I remember against Francis, it was so heavy. For Jon Jones, it was easier, so I'm sure for the next one, it's going to be easy.
At first, I think all of that, you see, the conference, the media, everything it's heavy for the fighter. And I remember against Francis, it was so heavy. It was not easy. And yeah, this is a good exercise because you must be prepared for that. This has had a little bit more pressure for the storytelling, everything. And yeah, I remember for Jon Jones, it was easier. So I'm sure for the next one, it's going to be easier.
But here's where it gets interesting. Gane's confidence stems from his experience under the Jon Jones spotlight, having already faced the pressure of fighting Bones at UFC 285. The French striker believes he's now battle-tested for the biggest stage. Tom Aspinall is the new generation. He's a tough guy, well-rounded, but I'm also a good fighter, Gane stated. It's going to be a beautiful matchup.
Well-rounded, so yeah, he's a good fighter. I'm also a good fighter, so it's going to be a beautiful matchup. It's going to be a beautiful matchup. He's going to have his tactic, I'm going to have mine. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm really excited about this challenge.
This confidence is striking considering Gane enters as a significant underdog against Aspinall, who opened as a minus 350 betting favorite. The MMA Twitter sphere has absolutely exploded following Gane's comments, with fans and fighters weighing in on what many are calling either supreme confidence or dangerous overconfidence. Retired UFC welterweight Matt Brown didn't hold back, stating, "The heavyweight division is on the line. If Gane goes in and beats him, the heavyweight division loses a lot of respect."
The heavyweight division is on the line. If Gane goes in and beats him, no disrespect to Gane, love the guy. The heavyweight division loses a lot of respect, even if Tom goes out there and it's a close.
Brown went further, suggesting this is exactly what Jon Jones was hoping for. Jon's going to be on his phone with Twitter open watching this fight, just waiting for Tom to mess up. This is the situation Jon was craving the whole time.
Jon's going to be on his phone with Twitter open watching this fight, like just waiting for Tom to fuck up and get dropped, get leg kicked and limping a little bit. Or, you know what I mean? Jon can't wait for that moment.
Fans are split down the middle. Team Gane supporters are rallying behind his experience and striker's confidence. Aspinall fans are calling it premature celebration. Many are questioning if Gane is underestimating the British champion's well-rounded skill set. The UFC 321 has been trending, with over 50,000 tweets in the past 24 hours alone. You can't talk about this fight without addressing the elephant in the room, Jon Jones. The former heavyweight champion's decision to retire and relinquish his title has created this entire scenario. Interestingly, Gane wasn't frustrated by the year-long delay caused by the Jones-Aspinall saga. "I was not frustrated. I got my experience. We stayed focused, stayed professional, and trusted the work of UFC."
And no, I was not frustrated. I got my experience. I did already 1 year without fight because of the COVID, because the people canceled the fight. We stay every time we stay focused, we stay professional, and we trust to the work of the UFC. And we're just waiting at the gym, keep training, and this is exactly what we did.
But here's the kicker. UFC analyst Din Thomas believes Jones deliberately delayed to gather intelligence. Jon is a chess player. He's collecting as much information on Tom Aspinall as possible. We haven't seen Tom in a lot of tough spots.
Jon is a chess player. You gotta think about this. He's a very intellectual chess player. And he's trying to collect as much information on Tom Aspinall as possible. Exactly. We haven't really seen him in a lot of tough spots.
Jones became the second longest reigning UFC heavyweight champion despite having only one title defense. a record that many view as controversial given his avoidance of the Aspinall unification bout. Now, with Jones out of the picture, both fighters know this is their moment to prove who truly deserves to be called the undisputed heavyweight king.